So, namaste, good evening to everyone who have joined, and especially thank you for noting the change of time that we have. Uh, just a minute, because
Just a minute, I'm
I'm
making you a
sorry.
host.
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, you can go ahead now.
Okay, all right. So, good evening and welcome to the presentation by Dr. Somdutt Prasad, who's joining us from Kolkata. And this is Prema Kakute, the serving secretary of YPS. And I am joining from Chennai, a small coastal town in Kerala. So I'm actually on a holiday here, but then I look forward to the presentation, which is going to take us not just in Kolkata, but it is going to take us to the Arctic region. So today's presentation is all about the Arctic. So it offers an intimate visual journey into the world of polar bears, captured during two expeditions in 2022 and 2024. Through a curated collection of images, it explores the distinctive behavior of these majestic Arctic creatures with a special focus on the tender and in, uh, intensive bond between the mother and their cubs. So the photographs not only document the resilience and adaptability of the polar bears in a changing environment, but also highlights moments of playfulness, survival, and deep familial connection. So, inviting the viewers to reflect on both the fragility and the enduring spirit of life in the far north. And before I give a small brief about Dr. Somdutt Prasad, I request everybody to see the presentation on the big screen. Please join on your laptops or your desktops, not on your phone, because these images are worth seeing on the big screen. So that's something I thought I'll tell right away before I forget. So here's a small introduction about Dr. Somdutt Prasad. He has been fascinated with photography from a young age, but in the last decade, he found more time to dedicate to his passion. Being an eye surgeon, it is perhaps natural that his interest in the visual sciences attract him towards photography. Although he takes images in many genres of photography, his main interest is wildlife photography. So he says, we share the planet with many species, and whilst photography documents them and their behavior, he sees it as a part of a wider effort to raise awareness and help conservation efforts. So during the COVID years, he says we had time to reflect, and it was finally his wife who encouraged him to enter photographic competitions, saying that all your photographs are on the hard disk or on some social media. So she said, why don't you enter them in competitions? So he then tentatively entered a few salons in 2022, and with some, I won't say some success, he's had a lot of success. This has become an active part of his daily activities. I didn't read out all the distinctions he's got because that will take up half an hour of our time. So anyway, he's got so many distinctions and he keeps adding to it so very often. He has I think in the past 3 years, he has got distinctions including WFIP, MPSA2, BPSA, GFIP, FAPS from Australia, etc., etc. And not only that, he has been awarded the Indian Photographer of the Year in 2024. That's such a proud, uh, you know, uh, title to have. Congratulations, Doctor. So Doctor not only believes in doing the photographs, but he also believes in contributing to the organizations he's a member of and serves as a nature division director for the PSA interclub competitions and the journal news representative for the PSA Nature Division. He is also on the international newsletter team of the Royal Photographic Society, UK. So before Doctor takes us on the presentation, which is the journey to the ice bear's kingdom, here are a few instructions. So I request everybody to keep their videos turned off and their mics also muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, you can just type it into the chat. And if the question pertains to that particular slide, Vikas will take it up. He will interrupt Doctor in the middle and he will ask the question. Otherwise, all the questions will be taken up at the end of the session where you can unmute and ask questions about anything that you require. And I think with this, we should be good to go. And I hand over the screen to Dr. Somdutt Prasad for the lovely pictures of the polar bears. It's going to be
Thank
a
you,
very exciting journey to the Arctic. Yeah,
thank you so
over to
much,
you, Doctor.
Prema. Firstly, thanks to YPS and Prema and Vikas for asking me to do this. Um, we do these things because we like them. We don't do them because it's necessary. But anyway, let me just see if my technology works and I can share my screen so that you can see my presentation. Is that coming on or is it not? Need to know the screen.
Yeah.
You okay? You can see what I'm showing, yeah?
So, which is your first slide? This is,
Yeah, this is the polar bear and mom with a video playing. Can you see that?
I think most of them are there.
Yeah, is it visible to everybody? That's okay, is it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
okay.
you're,
So I'll
is
start.
that a video?
So
It's a video, I guess.
yeah, it's a video.
Okay,
So
yeah.
to start with, I put this slide up because this sort of expresses some of the whole meaning of this presentation. Uh, the Arctic is a very interesting place. There are only, well, there are lots, few places where you can see polar bears in their environment. North of Svalbard is probably one, and the other is in North Canada, Churchill, and areas around that. In Churchill, you see them. I haven't been to Churchill, but as far as I know, because I'm interested, in Churchill, you see them on land and you go out in sort of safari vehicles. But in Svalbard, you go out in a ship. So it's somewhat more interesting. Now, Prema told you earlier that my job is an eye specialist. Actually a retinal specialist. I fix people's retinas. And we doctors, we like collecting letters after our names. So those are my academic medical credentials. The only reason I'm saying that is because, you might think, why is he going after so many photographic distinctions? Well, we like, doctors like collecting letters after their name. So in whatever we do, that sort of spills over. So so this is the cub swimming up to the mother, which I'll explain in a minute. But those are my photographic distinctions, whatever. Not that is anything huge, but okay, whatever we've done, we've done. But let me take you now on a story. It's a story. It's not presented specifically as a photographic thing. It is not presented specifically as a travel thing. It's both. Mixture of both. It's actually a bit of me, how I behave, what I do, and so on. So we went to Svalbard in 2022 because some of my friends decided that it was a good idea to do so. And that's how many things in life start. If you're wondering what this slide is, this little video is. These are bear and a cub, and if you watch it coming, it should come up in a minute, in a few seconds. There's some beluga whales which will come in there. So the beluga whale stand up, and my friend who was standing beside me just said, "Who invited the belugas?" Because we were not expecting belugas. We were out on the pack ice expecting bears. So, things happen in wildlife photography. You have to be prepared for it, and you do the best you can. So this is us approaching the Arctic ice cap. 81, 82 degrees north, still about 1,000 kilometers from the North Pole, so still a further way. But here's where the ice cap starts. And this image probably gives me a very good reminder that this is when you approach the thing, if you see something like this, you know, this is a receding kingdom. The kingdom is there, it is receding. Global warming is pushing them back, and I'll come back to that later. So the mother and cub sitting there, you can see the reflection, and they're thinking, what are we doing here? Are we going to here? This time, maybe not. Maybe I don't know how much they think that, but the image sort of transmits that story. And like Prema said earlier in the introduction, I'm very much into trying to not only photograph, but trying to do what I little I can for um, helping with conservation. So you think of polar bears as cute, cuddly toys, actually. A lot of us have grown up with polar bear toys, or we've given it to our children. Uh, but they are actually, I mean, this is a cub, but a male polar bear, it can be 1,000 to 1,200 kgs. The biggest recorded was about 1,400 kgs. So they are not toys, they are, big creatures. And coming from a background of photography, wildlife photography in India, where we do the normal things, tigers, peregrine falcon, the peregrine falcon, and going up. Going up out way beyond your normal comfort zone brings in a lot of challenges and a lot of things to think about. So this is the second voyage. We'll come to the first as well. So what you do is you fly from India to Oslo usually, and from Oslo to an airport called Longyearbyen, which is the middle of the Svalbard Peninsula. Usually, this was till 2024. The trips used to go like that. They used to go around, go to the fjords, go down the fjords, come up, go north, and that purple circle on top is where the pack ice is. Why did they do that? Because people want to see things, they have to show them the whole area. But last year they brought in some rules saying if you see a polar bear within the area, within the Svalbard area, then you cannot go closer than 500 meters. So it means even with a 600 lens, you're not going to get a picture. One of my friends who went just after the rules were implemented, as you said, it's a 1 pixel bear. Now we don't want 1 pixel bears. So a thing to do these days, if anybody is planning a trip or has been but is going to go again, is to arrange with the tour operator that we're going straight to the pack ice. Forget the archipelago. We're not going there. We're going straight to the pack ice. I'm going again next year, and that is what I've arranged. So there's a tip for. I'm sure some people have gone, or maybe we do again. So just a tip for them. So anyway, what happens if you arrive in this airport called Longyearbyen? It's a very small town. Interestingly, Longyearbyen is also well, Svalbard is a specially administered territory of Norway. It is not part of Norway. Technically, it's separate. It's the only place in the world where you can visit without a visa, or you can live and work there without a visa. Unfortunately, the only way to get there is through Norway. So you have to have a Norwegian visa to get there. But that's there. So the first time we arrived, this is 2022. Uh, we just turned up, three of us, me and two of my friends, and and we saw, this is the airport there, and there are the polar bear model at the airport to attract you. There are lots of other things there. You can in Longyearbyen, you can spend a day photographing, The Arctic light is beautiful. There are these lovely cottages, 78 degrees in the north. And then it's a small town, but it's interesting. Interestingly, it was also the northernmost Pride festival when we turned up. And because we were three men, they just thought and presumed some things, which were not right. But anyway, they gave us passes to go into this. I won't show you those pictures because we're talking wildlife today. But this was proudly proclaimed as the northernmost wildlife festival. Sorry, Pride festival in the world. Anyway, let's move. So if in Longyearbyen, nice restaurant called Proa on your left, which at the same time serves steaks and naan and dal as well. So depending on your food choice, you can go there and have whatever you want to eat. You land in Longyearbyen and then you go board the ship. The ship is not in the image, but I'm just showing you on the right. The image is actually called a harbor, but it's almost a side jetty where the ships come and line up. The ships are small; they're not the big Atlantic liners you're used to. There are some bigger ships like this one, which is as a photographer, you do not want to be on them. You used to have about 100 people. Uh, they're not like the Alaska cruises. They're not like that luxurious, but they are luxurious. But they are not set up for wildlife viewing. What you want to be is a ship like this. This is the MS of Rego, which we were in. It has 10 guests and 5 crew. So there are 15 people on board. That's it. It's a small ship. It's an icebreaker, so it survive the weather. There's a captain, there's a cook, there's an engineer, and 2 guides. So that's the five crew, and there are 10 guests. The advantage is because then what you do when you're photographing is actually go out in these zodiacs. Now, if you're a big ship, they will have to put down, one zodiac will hold 5 or 6 people, so they will have to put down 50 zodiacs to take their 200 passengers. Here, because they're only 10, they only need to put down 2 zodiacs. So the person on watch, whoever sees a bear or wildlife or something interesting, he just says so. One of the guides come and knock on your door in your cabin. You might be sleeping, just have dinner, whatever. And the mom said, get ready, bear, 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 or get ready, the zodiac, zodiac, zodiac. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you put all your winter clothing on. They provide you with these sort of boiler suits, which are both waterproof, insulator, and supposed to be floating. If you fall into the water, I didn't risk that, so I don't know. But within 5 to 10 minutes, they can have you out, going out to whatever they've spotted, which is not possible in the bigger ships. So if you're going for photography, you choose one of the smaller ships. If anybody has any, wants to go, hasn't been, doesn't know, you can contact me later. I can put you in touch with the people. No financial interest. It's just fellow photographers. Now you have to be ready with various things. This is my friend photographing. And if you see where he is, there is snow. He's photographing with a 600 mm, I think that was, or a 400 with a 1.4 PC. The light is very different on the bird he's photographing because the light varies a lot, changes dramatically now, instantaneously. You have to prepare for that. If you get snow, which is in this picture, but you don't get that so often. So, but you need to be prepared for that as well. Uh, Dr. Nagpal is hidden in that he's so well camouflaged that we can't see him. But anyway, but he's programming that Arctic turn in the nice. But people do not only go to Svalbard for wildlife. I go to Svalbard for wildlife. People also go for landscapes. It is one of the most amazing places. I'm not a landscape photographer. I'm not good at it. But just to give you an example, so there's amazing places for landscape photography as well. And obviously, if you're thinking of what you want to do, you want to think of polar bears and uh, walruses and things, but you can also get some very nice compositions against the glacier face, against the ice face, with birds and things like that. So obviously, most of us will, if you're out with a camera, you will think of what to do and where to take the shot and take it. This is from 2022. These are the walruses, and you can see those things. Before I'd been to Svalbard, I used to think the Arctic ice cap was ice and there was no land. But actually, there are bits of land jutting out here and there, and little I won't call them mountains, but big hills. And it's nice to see, the contrast between the snow in the beginning, the ice floating in the water, the walruses just sitting on a floating ice floor, and the hillock in the back. Makes nice image. This was my first PSA gold image, by the way. So I put it into the presentation. But obviously, it lends beautifully to monochrome for some images. These are again another walrus. They are again huge animals sitting on a nice floor, uh, doing whatever it wants to do. And they make lovely monochrome images as well. And you can process it in different ways depending on what you want to process it at. But this is my take on it. You also see seals and the color contrast, the greens and the moss on the rocket is sitting on, black of the sea, the white face, the beard, all that makes it makes for some nice images. There's a huge collection, but I'm just showing you. Uh, and then we move on to what you are here to talk about, the polar bears. Polar bears, I titled it specifically ice bears, saying they are the kings of the ice. They can survive in what is actually a desert. I can hear some of you will say, desert, there's water there. No, desert is defined by the amount of precipitation, not by the amount of water it has. So officially, the Arctic is a desert because there's very little precipitation. The water is coming from melting glaciers. It's not falling from on top. Although I did show you a slide with snowball, that's unusual. So that is why it's called a desert. So anyway, so in the desert, these in the ice desert, these animals are sort of the apex predator. Yes, they are the apex predator. They are also in control, and uh, it should really be called the ice bear. But anyway, that's beside the point. But they're very, very civilized and very well behaved. You're wondering what their shot is. The one in front is a whalebone. It's a whalebone doing there, and these sleeping bears. Well, the whales, when they die, the polar bears don't kill whales. They kill seals. They have now started hunting reindeer as well. They do not hunt whale. They cannot. The whales are too big. Whales, when they die, they wash up. When they wash up on the shore, this is in summer, so you can see the ice, but it's rocks in front. The bears go and eat when they want. When they cannot get fresh meat, whatever, it's like their freezer. Because it's -20, -30 anyway, the meat doesn't rot. So they will eat one whale for maybe 2, 3 years. This we saw in 2022, same one we saw in 2024, and my friends have seen it in 2021 as well. This one whale carcass had been eaten slowly in pieces because they don't like fresh meat. If they can't get it, they know where their freezer is and there's some food there, they'll go and get it. Also very civilized creatures. You can see that level group on the left calmly sleeping. They've had their fill, they've eaten. And then the next family moves in. I don't have a video of it, but if I had, I could show you that the other family was just waiting on the side. These two bears, who you can see the back sides, they were waiting on the side when the group on the right finished and went and slept, then they moved in. So they respect each other. They don't fight with each other. You'll see playful fight images, but they don't fight with each other. And they actually something to be learned from social behavior from them. Obviously, as photographers, we look for other things. So you can take backlit images against the light, makes nice rims. And obviously, the polar bear outline is obviously almost interesting. So we come back to where we had started. So this is now back in 2024. We spent 11 days. We saw 16 polar bears. Some were too far away. photographed about 7 or 10. And the action, like I said, was at the top right hand corner, and the back eyes about 81, 82 degrees. This is a little polar bear cub. It's actually little is not little. Little is about 500 kilos. And it's only 5 months old, as I was told by the guides. It's 5 months old. So 500 kilos at 5 months. So you can imagine. It's sort of staring out into what it thinks will be its kingdom. And then it decides, oh, I need to go back to mom, and mom's waiting with her face to the water, waiting for the child to come. The bond between the mother and the cub, and on the back ice, if you're outside the territorial waters, the rules of being 500 meters away do not apply, or international waters. There are no rules actually, but we always respect animals. We do not disturb them. We stay at a distance and we take our images and come back. A short video on this little guy. The mom is in the back watching what's happening. This little guy is curious, and you can see him coming out a ship. The left hand side, you can see the railing of the ship, and one of my friends leaning up comes in, sort of explores, curious child as they are. They're very, very much similar to children. And then, and mom's sitting at the back, right, watching what's happening, keeping an eye on things, but not disturbing, letting the cub explore. This is one of my favorite, if not my most favorite image of all time. Uh, the little bear is standing, the little cub is standing up, embracing its mom. The mom is sort of sitting there, quietly content, eyes closed, and enjoying the moment. They don't really enjoy, they play with each other. You would think they're fighting, they're not fighting, they're just, these are play games. Mom and daughter having a play game. It's not fight. And it's interesting to observe that even in these desolate times, the bonds still are the same as I wouldn't say any, but in most species, the bonds between the mother and the child are still the same. There's some nice images just to give you various things. We always as humans tend to humanize, so I think of this one as kissing the mother. It's probably not, it's just nuzzling up, but we always tend to humanize everything. So that is that. Uh, Again, all sorts of, again, I would repeat, we sort of tend to push our thoughts into the animals we see. But to me, this is the little cub hiding behind mom sniffing up, seeing what the atmosphere is going to be, and the cub is hiding behind, saying, "Oh, let mom decide what to do and what not to do, and then I'll take it from there." Now, if you notice in the last few images, if I go back one or two, maybe that one looks very white, that one looks a bit yellow. Uh, can be the result of two things. It can be the result of a photographer like me processing and pushing DHAs a little bit. So it makes them white. But actually, I've not done that. These are natural. These are as close to natural as I can remember. And actually, the polar bear's hair is hollow. So when it swims, some bacteria, I can't remember exactly what microorganism, gets into those hollow hair, fur, and that is what gives them the yellowness. So the younger bear who has not swum, not been swimming, will be whiter. And any bear which has not been swimming will be whiter. The bear who's swimming a lot will be a bit yellower. So these are all nice points of natural history, which as natural history, as wildlife photographers, we actually natural history photographers. You want to know these things. The more you know about animal behavior, the better your shots are going to be, without question. So this is them playing. They play, it's like mom and daughter playing. The daughter is sort of jumping on mom's opening her mouth. And, yeah, no intention of hurting the baby. She's just playing with her baby. And then some shots which look nice, mom and daughter looking right and left. So I said, looking both ways, I sort of monitoring the whole territory, seeing what's coming, what's not coming, where is happening. And obviously, kids will be kids, so they do all sorts of things. This one is rolling over. Uh, my dog does the same rollover. My daughter said, "Why did you go that far to see these? Just ask Kai to do it." But they just roll over to maybe put on the backside. Kids will be kids and they're playing. This is the car. This is jumping across. I wish I'd got the whole reflection. I didn't. But jumping across, there's no real reason. There are things on the side they can walk across, but they are just playful creatures. They will do what they will. And these are the belugas, the whales. Huge creatures. They just turned up. We weren't expecting them. Uh, and they are just a sight to behold. The water is so clear. It is maybe the only place in the world where you get so clear and unpolluted water. Well, there's a lake in Meghalaya where you get that, but besides that, generally. But you can see that leading whale is actually about under 20 feet of water and the image is still quite clear. I'm just photographing from the ship. Because here, because the bears were playing on the pack ice and the belugas attacked. The guides said, "Sir, we're not going to put down the zodiac, so you have whatever you do on the ship." It's not quite ideal because as photographers, we want eye level shots. And one of my colleagues was always saying that, not my colleagues, my travelers, oh, put the zodiac down, put the zodiac down, put the zodiac down. And the guy finally said, "Sir, it'll be very embarrassing if I have to say that you were slapped by a 5 month old and died. Because that 5 month old cub is about 600 kgs, and if he decides to give you a slap, uh, you're dead. Not to frighten you, they probably won't. But the situation was like that with these narrow channels of water. Where he said, if you put the zodiac down, we will not be able to maneuver it and we might get caught. So we're not putting zodiac down. So listen to your guides always. They have the local knowledge. They understand the bees. We have knowledge, but we have knowledge from reading, at least in a first grade. In the second, third grade, we have. I will always recommend more than one trip, not just for Svalbard, for anywhere, because the first time you just test the water, get some images, fine. Second time you do better because you understand the landscape, the behavior, and that's true in all wildlife photography. Why do we get good pictures of tigers? Because we in India we have so many we started understanding the behavior. This again is the bears watching the belugas, and obviously the other thing is you can play with these images. Whether you want. White fur on a white background lends itself beautifully to high key imaging. We want to do some high key processing. Shoot, shoot that way in the beginning. Shoot with the histogram to the right, which is where mirrorless cameras have been a great boon. Only but two things. I don't think my personal view. You can correct me later. Is that mirrorless cameras have brought in two things. One, I can see my histogram inside my viewfinder. I can shoot to the right without looking the highlights, without having to check up and down again. And two, obviously, is the AI autofocus thing. It locks focus onto the eye without me having to reposition my joystick, recompose, reposition, etc. So those are two main advantages of mirrorless cameras, which are great for wildlife sports action and things like that. But high key is something you might want to try. They give some nice images. Bit difficult to reproduce on screen. I'm not sure it's coming through, but actually this bear is just dripping water from his mouth. Is that difficult to reproduce on print as well, unless your printer is very, or you are printing yourself again. But they do come out very nicely. you know, Other things. You can do the same thing not only with bears but with birds. This is skua. There's some birds which are typical to that area: the Arctic tern, the skua, the fumar, they call it. And this again, I just processed it like that to give a sort of striking monochrome image. Uh, Hopefully, it's come out the way I wanted it to be. Uh, Comments welcome later. But the whole thing always depends upon understanding animal behavior. And animal behavior actually, there's a series of tiger photographs from Tadoba earlier this year. The reason we got it because we understood. We said, oh, the cubs are around. They will do something. We will wait till sundown. Beyond, if they kick us out, so something will happen. And around after sunrise, these things happen. Similarly, when this polar bear walks out of the water, this one has been walking. We've been following for about half an hour. Uh, and the water, this is the second trip. So we knew that it's going to shake its head and throw the spray around. It's going to happen. So you immediately switch to a very high shutter speed. You're ready for that. And then you get a shot like this. Obviously, it processes you get a shot like this, and uh, you, because you're anticipating, you should set the shutter speed to catch the reflex. So you know what's going to happen almost. You cannot always predict that, right? But you sort of understand it's going to happen. Then you get these nice shots, another monotone shot. This cub has just come out of the water and is shaking his head. Uh, these two are playing. This is from 2022, and they came out of the water shaking. And you get these nice shots of the water story, right? It's not unique to the cubs coming back to India. Tigers do that in well. I think that the tigers come out of the water throwing its spray as well. So I think a lot of animals do that. They come and they shake their themselves, get into the water. Polar bears are very good swimmers, so they're natural in the water. When they come from onto dry, they want to get rid of. And then you can get not only polar bears, but some other sorts as well. This is walrus lying on a nice floor, and a puma flying up at the top. uh, One of the birds. So, different views. You can see the glacier coming in, with broken pieces of ice behind. You get puffins. The better place to photograph puffins is in England, in various islands there, but you can get some puffin shots there as well. The birders, there's a lot. I'm not a birder, so I don't have a good shot. But you can get also the top left are guillemots. They are fighting. Uh, King Ida sitting, Lady King Ida sitting on its egg. King Ida's in the lake. So if you're a birder, there's a whole lot of birding you can do as well. And then there are the seals. And there are different seals. All seals are not the same. There are different species of seals. This one is sitting happily on the rock, watching the little ship go by, wondering what's happening. And then it decides to dive into the water. So you get another shot. And the color contrast is nice. The water is green, the seal is white, the eyes are sparkling. You can get all sorts of different shots depending on what you want and what you want to do. But it is actually a photographer's paradise. Just like when I right, left, center, something or the other is happening. This is another one. This is the bearded seal. This just popped his head against the ice in front, ice behind, there's a little bit of water, it's popped his head through that. So you can see that. Then there, and then obviously this is another one decides to go this way. But humans are never too far behind. Uh, this bear is sitting there. If I don't know if you can make out clearly, he's got a boot, Wellington kind of a rubber boot which people wear to walk in ice, snow, water, in his paws. Where did that come from? One would, probably someone just dropped it and it picked it up. But plastic waste and plastic pollution is getting everywhere. It's even reaching the Arctic ice cap. This where we sat there watching it for some time, just put two shots. It was playing with a boot, thinking it's something to eat, but biting it, but not deciding that it's not something to eat. It's not something it is familiar with, so it doesn't know what to do with it. It's like a toy, so it's playing with it. So we see all these nice images, we think they're there, but global warming, pollution, etc., are threatening their habitat as well. So maybe in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, when you go there, we will not be there. So it's not shown you all the images I want to. I just want to go into a couple of other things. Some of these were have been published. The one with the top card cutting the mom. This is was published in a UK newspaper called The Star. It's not one of the mainstream newspapers. It's what we call tabloids in the UK. I lived in the UK for a long time. Okay, it's what people buy in the day for a small price, 20p, 30p. And they will skim it while they're in the metro or something like that. Also on the cover of the Australian Photographic Society, which is quite nice for me. Also, I had an article on these in the RPS International Members Forum, for which I actually do some work. So I actually commission articles for them. So if any of you have to be RPS members. If you're RPS members, you want to write something, you produce something for them, please do contact me. The image on the right is a kingfisher from our Western Ghats. Also my image, which was the cover of the same issue. Uh, this slide, I can send it to you if you want, is actually tell you what you can do. If you are an RPS member, you can send images for the cover or a portfolio, uh, or something we call My Home, which is very interesting. So you can write about your city or your state with images, or main articles on techniques, etc., etc. I think I've spent a fair amount of time. You have some thoughts to think about late evening, some thoughts to think about, and some things maybe you want to discuss. We'll come to that again. But as it's a presentation about theirs, maybe this is a more fitting image than the last one. This one is lying around thinking, maybe thinking. We again transpose our feelings on them. What is my future going to be? So this is the ice bear's kingdom, and the little bear, which was standing on the side, is now perched up on the little hillock of ice, surveying his kingdom, saying, "Thank you for listening." With that, I will exit the slideshow and we will go to take questions or whatever as Vikas will guide. Vikas? I need to press stop presenting. Okay. Yes. So any questions, any discussion, anything you want to discuss besides
Yeah,
this? Please go ahead.
fantastic presentation, Doctor. But I think probably the audience is spellbound.
Thank you so much.
And I don't see any message as such, but uh, yeah, anyone who has any questions, please feel free to put up your message.
For now, you
Let's
can just chip in, I think.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
can,
can. Yeah,
yeah.
let me switch on the a
Yeah.
mic. Yeah, Mr. Rai, I think you can go ahead.
Hello, Somda. Good evening. It's an excellent
Brilliant. Good
presentation.
evening. Thank you so much.
That's excellent presentation, and well, it was expected as usual. I that as a photographer, there was so much white around you. How did you manage the exposure? What was the what I mean? What tip would you give to your fellow photographers regarding managing so much white?
Yes, Srijan, as you know, you're an experienced photographer yourself. As you overexpose to keep the whites, but do not know the highlights. Now that used to be a tall order in the days before mirrorless because you were making judgments checking the histogram on the LCD, and then go back. Now you can have. I always have my histogram in my viewfinder. That's one of the things I must have. So because I have the histogram, I'm seeing a live histogram in the viewfinder. So I shoot. If you think you shot with me, so you probably know. But I shoot manual. I have the front command dial on aperture, the back one on shutter speed, and I leave the ISO on auto. So I decide what aperture, what shutter speed I want. The ISO the camera sets. The focus is AI. It will focus. I'm obviously checking where it is focusing and whether it is what I want. It's doing it. That simplifies life a lot. And because I'm seeing the histogram, I can turn up the shutter speed a bit or lower it a bit or turn the aperture with my two fingers without taking my eye off the viewfinder. Now that is very important because in the past you had to look and then go back.
Okay,
So that way you can just compensate. You as long as you're not blowing out the right, you shoot to the right, but do not blow out the right.
okay, and one more question from the this has
Right.
been bugging me for long. Since the surrounding is completely white, I mean a white ice, and it should be, I mean, appearing bluish also in certain times. And
Yeah.
the polar bears, they are either white or those which are swimming a lot. They're yellow, as you so well explained. How did you? I mean, how would you achieve the separation of the subject from the background or the foreground? Has it been a challenge for you, number one? And I'm sure it was, and you excelled on
Yeah.
that. But how would you?
It is
What
a
would be your strategy?
challenge. It is a challenge region. You can do two things. Like I said, one, you could go high key and make some abstract very nice images. Uh, yeah.
Okay,
Two, if you want to be natural, which is what I was being with most of my images, except with the few high key ones I've shown. Uh, then you have to separate it a little bit of dehaze. You have to work on it in post processing. I don't think I'm going to steps. It does take a bit of work in post processing to bring it down, but not a lot. Mostly they're natural. A little bit of with nature, with wildlife photography, you don't do a lot of processing. I don't. There is some subtle things, a little bit of dehaze, maybe a little bit of clarity, higher, lower, things like that.
okay, okay. Thanks a lot, Shonda. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think uh, Vinya Matthews has put up a message, a series of wonderful images indeed, and it was truly a visual treat. Thank you
Oh,
very much,
good.
Somdutt, and thank you very much, YPS, for inviting him, is what she says. I don't see any question from her though, but I think she has thoroughly enjoyed the session. And again,
Thank you so much.
Ramnathan Thenapan, again, probably from Chennai. Wonderful presentation is what he says. So, anyone has any questions, you can unmute yourself or put up the questions right on the chat box so that I can call out the question and uh, doctor can respond to that.
Hello, Doc. Venkat here. Good evening. Wonderful
Thank you.
presentation. Yeah.
Thank
One
you.
question which would be not exactly related to photography itself, but you gave initially a very good description of the route and all that. Can you little bit expand about how much time it will take to reach there from Oslo and how many days it's a if anybody plans for the trip, how many days you have to be there? And the third part of the question is what will be the budget? What one should have in mind in dollars or rupees or whatever you say.
Venkat, the trips actually, the sailing from Longyearbyen back to Longyearbyen are 9 to 11 days usually. Okay, so that is fixed. You cannot change that. Uh, you're on the ship, and then you're on the ship till the ship gets back. You have no control over that. You cannot say I want to get off here that. So that is fixed. You're talking 11 days. You're talking 2 days advance of that from going from India to Oslo. Normally, you stop one night in Oslo. Next day you fly to Longyearbyen. You stop one night in Longyearbyen. Why? Because there are only two flights from Oslo to Longyearbyen a day. Well, actually, there are three, two with SAS, one with Visionaire. Visionaire doesn't appear on any of your search engines or whatever. You have to put their website. So it's a bit intricate, but you should keep 2 days, one night in Oslo, one in Yemen to get back because you have to be, the ships normally sail around 11 a.m. in the morning, 10 a.m., 11. You have to be there. When the ship has sailed, you cannot be 1 hour late. It won't work. So you take an early morning flight and it's delayed, you're not going to miss the ship, and you paid a huge amount of money for that, and because your whole trip was for that, whatever. So one night in Oslo, one night in LYR, which are telling you where to eat in LYR. It's a nice place to eat. But yeah, so 2 nights there. Then you're going to ship 9 to 11 nights, depending on which package you book. Uh, come back. Coming back, you can make it quicker if you come because normally they get back late in the afternoon or the evening, uh, and you sleep in the ship overnight. So you can take the earliest morning flight out. That is easy. And then you stop one night in Oslo because normally you won't get a connection that day. If you get it, you can take that as well. That's all right. So coming back one night extra, maybe two. Sorry, one night extra, maybe zero, is fine. So you're talking about 2 weeks really for 11-day trip. Talking about 2 weeks. So that's one thing. Two is expenditures. The once you're on the ship, everything is included besides alcoholic drinks. Uh, the wine they will serve you with dinner, but anything else, and a few extras. Like they have chocolates and stuff on the counter. You pay for that, but otherwise your food and your lodging and everything is included. And it's about depending. You can get various deals. You book last minute, but people like me can't, so you can. But for about 9-10 days, it's 8 to 9,000 euros. Uh, you can get very good deals if you are somebody who's flexible and willing to fly out at late. But then what you save on the booking might be what you spend on higher price flights. So I don't know how that works. But me personally, I booked 1 year ahead. My August 2026 trip is booked already, and it has been booked. So that was the second part of your question, budget, how to get there. What was the third part of your question, Venkat? I sort of forgot.
No, you kind of answered the whole thing. So the
Okay.
only thing is equipment you already mentioned about your mirrorless, but the lenses, how much of zoom to 150, 600, or even a wide angle or that kind of, if you can again shed some light.
Well, normally I will take, and most people will take, and they will tell you that, is I take a 400 f2.8 with a built-in PC, so that gets me 560 at the click of a switch. But you're looking at 400, 500 range for most of your shots. For the bears, or 600 for the birds. Uh, you want to take some environmental shots, you will when you're there, or if you're a landscape photographer. Then carry a wide, maybe on a separate body. Remember, when you're in the Zodiac, people do change lenses. It can be done, but it's best. I carry actually three cameras, two bodies, two Nikon bodies, uh, with one with a 7200, one with the 400 on it, and like a Q3 around my neck, because that gives me a 28 wide angle. And you can, I didn't show you those, but you can get some very interesting shots through the ice when the sun is shining through it. Some abstract work. You should go down in contemporary or whatever genre you want to call it. And that's a small camera. So yeah, carry ideally carry three bodies, not very heavy ones. One with a long lens reaching out to 500 or 600. One a 7200 is always a 7200. It is the king of everything. And one with a wide angle.
Thanks a lot. Yep.
And ideally, this time I will want to carry a drone because what I didn't show you was these glaciers, and there are waterfalls all over the glaciers. And last time we had been there, there was this person in Taiwan near a drone. With a drone, he could get these lovely shots from up there, white ice and the water flowing, and the waterfall is actually green because of the algae. It makes beautiful abstract images. Will not win anything in a salon, but be something you'll frame and put in. So that's all the advice I wanted to give.
Thanks a lot. Yep.
Yeah, Akshita Manjunath from Coimbatore, I guess. Uh, yeah, she's saying thank you for the wonderful images. Uh, any other questions, tips that people would want to know? I think Doctor is open to answer them. And as I already said, you can unmute yourself. I've opened up the mic option. So if you would
I think
want
a
to type, you
bit of advice about traveling to Svalbard for people who want to do it first time I would give is you may go through a lot of Indian operators, and basically what they do, except for one or two who actually are very hands-on, they just hand you over to the local operator. So it's actually better, at least I think so, just to book directly. There are only two main operators. One is Arctic Wildlife Tours, and the other one I forget, Wild something. You book directly with one of them. You get the same prices. You can even negotiate for a little bit of a discount. And you get the same when you get there. And most of us are capable of traveling to Longyearbyen and back up by ourselves. We don't need somebody to hold our hands. So, except for one or two people who are very hands-on, the local guide, the Indian guide doesn't really add much to your journey. So just my take. You can save some money. Well, Akansha, it is Akansha Manjunath. Yes, it is actually not difficult. They give you all these things. You're in a boiler suit kind of thing, which keeps you warm. You basically take your warm clothes, you correct footwear, whatever. If you cannot, because you cannot get these things here in Longyearbyen, when you're stopping one night, you can buy these hand warmers and things. The chemical things you press them, put them in your gloves or put them in your feet, whatever, and it just warms you so your feet and hands are active. Thankfully, modern batteries have not given me a problem. But shooting is so cool, batteries will die down or not work, but actually they work. You will need something to carry your cameras in a waterproof bag. There are these bags you can get, I think, 800,000 rupees on Amazon, and you put your camera in it because they lower it from the ship into, they'll help you with it. You don't have to do it. They'll help you with it into the Zodiac, and then you take it out again. And when you're not shooting, you put it back in because water splashes into the Zodiacs. So with these things, you can shoot in minus 20. That's not a problem. You have to be geared up for it, which is why one of the shots I showed you showed my friend all covered up. He was prepared for it, everything done. Thank you.
it looks like there are not
Yeah,
any
we got
questions more.
great.
Um, yeah, yeah.
I hope I've inspired you all to go to the Arctic at some point. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, on behalf of Youth Photographic Society and all our members, sir, it is immense pleasure to have you uh, present today. And yeah, not everyone would have an opportunity to go, but it was a visual treat, definitely for each one of them who have attended today's presentation and yeah, were a part of this event. So thank you again, sir. And yeah, of course, as we mentioned in the beginning, the yeah, presentation was recorded. So
Sure.
maybe in due course, we wouldn't want to immediately publish because typically, yeah, we do a little later so that otherwise there's no live audience and there's no fun with it. Everyone will start waiting for the recording only. So we wouldn't want to do that, but very soon that will also be there, and I think rest of the details will be shared to you on mail, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Vinya ma'am says all the best for your next Arctic tour.
Thank you so much. Well, two or three other tours before that. So thank you so much.
So we wish to see more presentations from you.
And in time, I'm sure we'll
Thank
generate
you,
some
sir.
stuff.
Thank you once
Thank you
again.
so much. Thank you once again. It's great being part of the club and being a part of it. Thank
And
you so much.
really wonderful discussions happening on the Inspire group also. Because
Yes.
having senior members there, I know definitely the outcome would be very fruitful.
Yeah.
It's not about
I,
any.
I don't I don't count
Uh,
myself as a senior member. I'm still
no,
learning.
no, I'm
I
saying
think the
it's not about
challenge is
age.
about
I'm saying out of
3 months
experience or the
ago.
connects.
Yeah.
I'm saying out of the experience of
3 years ago.
travel or connects with people who would have been uh, in the field, who have done something related to what the topics are. Um, that's what I would
That
qualify
that
as.
that credit goes to Venkat for introducing me to YPS and for introducing me to all the WhatsApp groups. So
Yeah, yeah,
thank you, Venkat, for that. I think he's still online.
yeah, yeah. He's there. He's there. Thank you, Venkat. Thanks once
Thank
again.
you.
Okay.
Great. Good night then.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Yeah.